Hi everyone, it's Rob Watson, the module leader for TECH1002, social media and technology, and this is the video summary overview for the 12th lecture, which is the first one of 2017. Hope you had a great Christmas break and a great new year, not too many hangovers. What we're going to cover in this session is, first of all, I'm going to do each week for the next 6 weeks or so, I'm going to add a bit of information about the exam so that there's some links that you can visit and some suggestions about things like study groups, and there's also some pointers for revision, and I'll indicate how we're going to lead up to the exam, and we'll particularly focus on the kind of reading that you need to be looking at for the exam. Now, each week on the lecture list that's on the wiki, and remember the address for the wiki is wiki.our.dmu.ac.uk. So go to the TECH1002 page and just look down for the lecture notes section. And each week you'll see that there's, as well as the lecture notes being available as a PDF, a downloadable PDF, there's also some suggested reading and there's some suggested viewing. And the reading for this week is the Jones and Hafner book, Chapter 5, which is about online language and social interaction. And the viewing, there's two programs to watch. There's one called What Artists Do All Day. This is available via the box of broadcasts, which is available through the DMU library. And there's a link there on the wiki to access that. And also a program which was on recently about television's opening night and how television was launched, the first night of television broadcasting in the 1930s, which took place at Alexandra Palace in London. And a very fascinating discussion and explanation of the two competing systems, the electronic system and the mechanical system. So it's well worth watching to get a sense of television as an emergent technology. So that kind of ties in with the theme of what we're going to be looking at and thinking about, which is that we've looked at the idea of media, we've looked at the idea of mediation, we've looked at the idea of social mediation as well, and now what we're looking at the idea is a kind of technological mediation, if you like. So the third component of the module is to think about media as a technology. The challenge then is to look at technology as a kind of media as a technology, and to think about the way that it offers us what Jones and Hafner call affordances and constraints. So the idea that technology allows us to do certain things, be certain things, and it also constrains us. So if you go back to that idea of the McLuhan-esque idea of the extensions of man, and that the microphone is an extension of the voice, and the loudspeaker is an extension of the ear, that kind of thing. What does that enable? What does that change? What does that enable us to do or be, which is different from what we were previously before we started to use those technologies? And there's a whole way of thinking about how media as a technology is integrated into our lives and our social lives, and it has profound impact in terms of the way that we can conceptualize and undertake our kind of activities and accomplishments in the world. So one of the things we'll look at with this is we'll look through the idea of kind of timekeeping and the way that the watch and the development of the clock and the personal wristwatch has changed the nature of the way that we organise ourselves and we conduct business and we manage our day. And now we're at an age where we kind of, we look for apps and we look for business management planning and we have schedulers, and we're kind of almost dominated by time management and running to time. And we're often talking about we might have plenty of money but we don't have much time, and we're time poor, and carving out time for ourselves, the pace of life is very different. And all of this is because we've adopted certain practices and techniques which are based around, which we wouldn't have if we didn't use particular kind of timekeeping technologies. So in the I've done the notes. They're available to download in advance if you wish to. Otherwise, you can just let it unfold. It's not a bad thing to do. I've also done the PowerPoint presentations, which I won't share the PowerPoint presentations, but all the links and any diagrams that are essential, that's in there. The one thing that I'm going to be, two things that I'm going to be focusing on in the coming weeks in all of our sessions is, first of all, is note taking. And we're going to review the feedback that I've sent you about the second coursework assignment, and I think it's really important that we really do focus on the idea of sitting and actively taking notes. It does make a big difference, and we've got to shift our thinking from a kind of passive way of learning to a much more active way of learning. So we'll look at some techniques, and I'll design some exercise that are going to help us with that. The second element of that we're going to do in the coming weeks is I want to put time aside in each of the sessions now to really start to engage in conversations about the reading material. So what we'll do this week is we'll do a practical exercise in the lab sessions, which is based around some mapping exercises. We'll take some ideas and we'll visualize them and map them, but we'll have a conversation as we do it. And we need to be using the terms, we need to be using the language. We're not familiar with them, we're not sure about them, we don't necessarily know what they connect to, but we'll make those connections in having smart conversations about them. So in order to prepare for and get ready for the exam, we need to be talking about the issues. So what we'll need to do is each week the reading material that is suggested, the chapter that is suggested, the following week we'll have a conversation based on that. So we'll do it the week later. So there's the reading material, so the preparation that you have to do for the workshop sessions, as well as working on your social project, and there'll be time put aside for that. We'll spend time at the beginning of each session where we have a short exercise, hopefully make it quite a creative exercise, where we can engage in conversation about the issues associated with the previous week's reading, suggested reading. The other thing we'll do this week as a one-off is we'll have a game of cards at the beginning as well. So I'll make sure that I bring the packs of cards and that we can kind of have 20 minutes where we just kind of refresh our minds and get to know each other again and wake up a little bit, I suppose. So all of that's available on the wiki, and I'll see you at the lecture and the workshop sessions during the week.